Hey guys, so after struggling for a couple of days not knowing what build to do, I returned to my league starter, which is static or blighting of static. Messed around in PUB a bit and the numbers are actually kind of nice to my surprise. Got over 7 million DPS and I don't really have any like super expensive items. The most expensive item is like 2.5 divines. And I'm not using any of the awakened gems, so this could reach to like 10 million DPS, and the tankiness is okay because most of the time, because I just don't get hit, because I can freeze enemies with blighting, but I don't have any cold damage, and that's because of the expedition's end. Overall, this is actually working pretty well, but you do need quality blighting because the cooldown is still gonna be a problem. You cannot really clear much faster than this with this setup because you just run into cooldown problems for blighting. I did get CDR on belt and you could also get CDR on boots, but I don't think that it's worth it. I think just getting a bit of CDR on belt is all you need because getting good boosts with CDR is kind of expensive. So I'm gonna talk about how I did this build, but like the build is nothing too impressive. It's not very tanky. If you cannot freeze enemies, it becomes a lot squishier, but for general mapping it works really well. And if you're like league starting late or just don't have much currency, in general this is kind of nice setup. But again, if you like want to constantly keep farming guardians, this is probably not that great. Damage wise it's fine, but tankiness wise it's not that great, especially if you combine with like Maven's influence and Maven spawns extra bosses because of the destructive place keystone. It can become like quite a lot repairer. So the most expensive items Choir of the Storm. I believe it's like over 2 divines. Yeah, a bit over 2 divines in the current league. Expeditions End, even a 6-link Expedition End is kind of cheap. It's like what, for less than 2 divines you can get that. The staff is also cheap, Duskdawn. I decided to try Duskdawn because I haven't used it in a long time, and it's kind of hard to beat Duskdawn. And Duskdawn compared to like a +3 staff is better for Choir of the Storm. It would be hard to get actually more damage. However, this build you kind of need to try to reach well as close as possible to 100% crit chance for blighting, because blighting when you cast it, either all hits will crit or none of them will crit every ball. So you want every time you cast blighting to essentially always crit. But if you always crit, then you are missing the crit multiplier from Duskdawn. However, I do have other skills. Previously I even had Hydra Sphere, I even had Stormbrand to generate power charges, but now I don't need those things. So, but I still have Galvanic Field, which does not have 100% crit chance. So this can still not crit and enable the crit multiplier if you have dealt a non-critical strike recently. The extra here's damage, I pretty much ignore that, and it also helps with the block. One of my defense is block and recover 2% life and ES on block. I don't have capped spell block, but I do have, wow, even massively overcapped attack block. Huh. And then I try to get a bit of chaos rest, 27 positive chaos rest, not that much. I also did try to get a helmet with quite a bit of armor and physical damage taken as. Ideally would want physical damage taken as lighting because I am using Purity of Lighting. I don't really need it. I could replace that with the Herald of Thunder and do more damage, but the more overcapped lighting rest I have, the more crit chance I get from the Choir of the Storm, and early on it helps a lot until you tweak your other setup to get enough crit chance. The last piece of thing that I updated was get a nav on gloves and lighting exposure. So like I said previously, I was using Hydra Sphere, which was applying exposure, and even before that I was not even using expeditions, and I was running with I believe with the Doppelganger or something else, or trying to figure out what to do, and running Call of the Brotherhood Ring. But splitting the damage means it's also harder to scale the damage. Like lighting penetration is not working against like cold damage. Now, to my surprise, I'm actually quite easily capping my shock 50%, but it's not because of blighting, but it's because of the Choir of the Storm. So Choir of the Storm hits pretty hard, the lightning bolts. They are hitting for almost 700,000 average hit damage. So it may even be worth investing into maximum shock. Against general mapping you will have 50% shock plus, but against guardians and like other endgame bosses you're probably not gonna have 50% shock. So yeah, like I mentioned, I don't even have any awakened gems, and this is some of my gems actually did not even have quality, like Added Lighting does not have quality. So the DPS buff of building is actually a bit higher than what I have right now in this setup. And obviously if you get awakened gems, the DPS would be over 9 million. So yeah, like it's kind of simple build. Lightning Warp is actually also less duration, faster casting, swift affliction. So I can like Lightning Warp very quickly. But even if I can do that, it's kind of dangerous. I don't know, Lightning Warp in general feels dangerous because you don't see enemies far away, but you want to like move far away and then suddenly boom, enemy back. But even if you Lightning Warp very quickly, you cannot just drop ball lighting and also mana. Mana problem, if you're having mana problems, I did take this mastery. Skill cost life instead of 30% of the mana cost. And I am using level 2 Enlighten. Like if I don't use Enlighten, I only have 42 mana and I have automated steel skin, and when I use like Lightning Warp it drains mana way too quickly and then ball lighting, so you may not have enough mana without that mastery. There are other ways you can improve the damage. You can probably go for like a really good rare stuff. Annihilating Light would be the best option, but good luck capping resistances. It's possible, but yeah, with Annihilating Light you would get like almost 50% more damage from this setup, but capping resistances would become a lot more challenging. You could also go for the temple gloves, either like crit chance or increased hit damage against shield enemies, something like that. You could probably add aspect of the spider instead of purity of lighting, definitely, because it's also 35% reservation, although it would not benefit from enlighten. But aspect of the spider, level 30 aspect of the spider would give you 20% more damage. The enemies take increased damage has kind of diminishing returns, and you're already shocking for 50%, which is also enemies take 50% increased damage. So adding another source of enemies take increased damage may not be as good as just getting set up more damage through other means. By the way, ball lighting is also only level 20, but the quality, you definitely need quality. I am linking it to inspiration to lower the mana cost. Added lighting, I don't even have quality. Awaken added lighting level 5 would also give +1 extra level, so you could actually get +2 levels. And if you get corrupted expeditions and for like +2, actually ball lighting does not have duration tag, so it doesn't even have projectile tag, static ball lighting. Pretty much only +2 AoE or +1 to all skill gems. So you could get at least an extra +2 levels to ball lighting by getting level 21 ball lighting and awaken level 5 added lighting damage support. Lighting penetration, awaken is actually kind of expensive level 5, so I didn't go for that. Increased critical strike support, you want that critical chance as high as possible, and increased critical damage support. Could go for hypothermia, but you would then need a lot more dexterity. I added galvanic field, kind of one of the last things I did. It's not really adding much damage, however galvanic field does help proc non-critical strike recently, so yeah, why not. Purity of lighting could be replaced with something else like aspect of the spider or even herald of thunder for more damage if you can cap res and get enough crit chance. Purity of elements just to avoid being frozen, and the shock and ignites and all the other nonsense that everyone hates. Breath could also be level 21, although that wouldn't change all that much, and enlighten level 2. I have a couple of spare supports that I could add, but I'm not sure what else I would want to add. Using inspiration with Assassin's Mark just to lower the mana cost, and lastly automation with steel skin. Now the way I'm getting power charges is through this node, because I'm chilling enemies with the expeditions and also freezing them. So 10% chance to gain power charge when you shock a chilled enemy. Since enemies are always chilled and you pretty much always shock with the 100% crit chance, so it's very actually easy to generate power charges with this. I believe I paid 1 or maybe actually up to 2 divines for these combinations. The rarest lessons to get leech, which you can get on gloves as well. The overshock also increase effect of lighting ailments, and Storm Rider. Until you get Storm Rider, you could use Stormbrand, the faster casting, critical chance, and the power charge on crit. Also, it helps to have this modifier. Any amount of chance to get power charge on kill while clearing should be enough, but for single target you do need another way to generate power charges. I'm actually even missing one more jewel here. And yeah, normal jewels you just want, well, crit multi if you can afford, double crit multi, life, and maybe like resistances or dexterity if you need, or just straight up increased lighting damage or spell damage. And yeah, as you can see, the rest I'm getting the staff nodes. The staff mastery I picked up from this, whatever. You could go with the Eldritch Battery, but then I didn't feel like I need to anymore. But you could go with Eldritch Battery, you could also pick up these crit nodes for lighting. If you want more damage, you're still gonna have to go with the Cluster Jewels. Oh yeah, and I am using Militant Faith, which has increased elemental damage and mana regen per devotion. And I am getting Inner Conviction from Militant Faith, which is 3% more spell damage per power charge. And this one also gives 4% increased spell damage per power charge. And I can reach 100% crit chance without stacking more power charges. Didn't even go for this power charge anymore. By the way, Anointment probably could be something else. At that time I just had the right oils and just used that. So yeah, Dexterity or Strength if you need. Another Spell Block. Spell Block is actually a bit harder to cap. Oh, by the way, to squeeze in all the auras, you're probably gonna need the Mana Mastery. And picking up these is better than picking up that, because this also gives block. So yeah, that pretty much covers this build. Like overall it's a simple build and on a lower budget, and it works to start with a low budget. When I started this build, it was even cheaper. I was using Agnarod's staff. I believe it was Agnarod's best, the one that has flat lighting damage to spells. Did not even have Quarter Up to Storm and Expeditions, and was cheap, and you can even 6-link with the Beastcraft. The last time I checked it was like 70 years to get right beast to just guarantee a 6-link. I haven't fully decided my next build. I was thinking the old school Tukohama's Vanguard Spectres. Now I could get like 8, even 9 Spectres, and they use Scorching Ray Totems. And the Scorching Ray Totem damage the stack. I did that in the past and it had pretty decent damage, surprisingly decent damage. I could get more damage now than in the past, but it would also be expensive because it requires Amanamo's Gaze, which is like 12 plus Divines, and I'm not sure if I'm willing to invest that much into kind of a weak-ish build. I will most likely still do it, but I haven't fully decided. So if you got some interesting build ideas, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Almost killed it too quickly.